Hey all, and welcome back to Sonic Chronicles and the battle for Angel Island, which we're now on. Hey Angel Island, you look much smaller than you used to. Look at that overworld map.
Yeah, again, I can't really rip on it too hard because they have redesigned every area in this game, but this is not the Angel Island we know.
It's like, oh, Knuckles. It kind of makes sense why you're able to keep track over everything on this place, because it's pretty small. I would say the overworld music for this place isn't too bad. It does have a kind of like tribal feel to it, and yep, there's Shade and everyone else like, we're over here, enjoy this fan art, motherfucker.
I just love the movement animation. It is literally just to sweep to the left, even if the characters have limbs that could have some kind of motion to them.
So, this is the finale of Battle for Angel Island, the hypersonic bomb ever released. What can we expect here, Flame?
This is pretty much where we're going to be exploring how little to explore there is on Angel Island. I'll be seeing other bits and pieces here, looking for items as we go along, just to kind of show off some stuff, because we're not really here for that long, so, you know, getting a feel for everything.
Yeah.
And we will be meeting the main bad guy for the game later on as well. So we've got some stuff going on here.
Yay!
What say you, Richie? How did you feel about this point in the game where you actually go to Angel Island and the plot starts picking up?
Once again, it's far too long since I played the game for my initial feelings to be absolutely crystal in my brain.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I remember sort of thinking, well, thank God I'm mostly away from Metropolis at this moment in time, because that was boring the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like, it's building up to something, maybe we're going to be okay, and I don't know. Well, part of me wonders whether in my head I was thinking the game was going to end at this point. I mean, obviously that would not be a very long RPG at all.
No, it wouldn't.
It'd be really short, but considering the general lengths of Sonic games, this wouldn't necessarily be the worst length I've ever seen in a game ever.
No, I think for like, as tedious as it can be, the length of the game is fine, because, let's face it, this is a game for children. It's Babby's first RPG.
Yeah. I think it's probably one of those where it feels longer when you have all of the extra fights in there, and they sort of drag you down. I mean, generally it's the fights that really do drag down Sonic Chronicles. And it's not that it's bad, it is just that they're long and tedious, and it makes the game feel a lot longer than it actually is.
Yeah.
Because I think I do just remember it feeling like it took forever, even though it actually probably didn't so much.
Yeah. I've always said, and I'll continue to say this until I guess die and stop playing video games, because that's the only way you're going to get me to stop, is that the mark of a good RPG is how fun it is to grind. And it's fun to grind in the Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah.
It's fun to grind in, like, any of the Paper Mario or, like, Mario & Luigi games. Although you don't really need to grind in Paper Mario, because you're usually pretty well balanced if you just take out enemies as you go. But here, you still have to put up with the fact that enemies may run away, so you've got to do a minigame. You've still got to put up with the fact that everything is done through QTEs and so on. So you are never afforded the chance to ever relax, so to speak, to ever go into like veg mode and just like basically enjoy the game at your own leisure. So it's a weird sort of, again, this is the dissonance thing. It's a game for kids. It's also the first RPG, but they also have the shoehorned in touch controls, for lack of a better word, and it's kind of at odds with the difficulty and tone of the game, really.
Yeah.
Though, in that sense, this game doesn't really rely much on traditional grinding. Like, there's very few points where you need to go level up to have a reasonable chance at a boss. And like I mentioned in an earlier part, when you've got to a certain level, they completely nerf your experience to discourage you from grinding further.
Wow.
So it is literally just I guess the grind of standard battles, from like when you look at how long some of them take and that kind of slow it down a bit. But I don't know, like when I was playing this, so I would get like a chapter or so a day, and that would be reasonable to me. I would get a satisfying gameplay session from that. So I didn't really feel it was awfully slow. Like, it was a bit monotonous in Metropolis in particular, where there's loads of shit you run into. But other than that, it's not bad in that respect. That was a disapproving
Well, Flame, you know how I feel about you in general, my friend. I'm not going to sugarcoat it anymore. You're a cook, and I hope you die at the end.
Okay, well, so you are incorrect there. I cannot be a cuck because I'm single, so fuck you, I win. Well, that's a win, right?
Life cooked you then, you know.
Okay, I'll roll with that. I've got nothing else, got no more rebuttals.
Well, I got no more jokes, and that certainly was an attempt at a joke, but let's just move on before we're all lesser in the eyes of our fans and compatriots.
You see, this is why I just sort of stayed out of that whole conversation, even though in my head my brain was just going, can you just say cuckolded, because that's the original word here.
But
and
cuck is funny.
I was just about to say you stayed out of it because you were the smart one out of it, but no, you were gonna do the same fucking thing just with bigger words. Which is Richie in a nutshell, really, and that's why I love you.
Yeah, basically.
It's fine, we can bring him down to our level, no problem.
Well, I've been working at it, but damn it, he still has free will at this point. Also, he's as stubborn as I am, so I guess that's why we get along.
Yeah, it's just like, I think Tom realised that he'd met his match in stubbornness with me many years ago.
Oh yeah. And the thing is with me, and I hate to get all like fan wanky and self-introspective here, just because, you know, we are at a pivotal point in the game, but we're not quite there yet, so just this once I'll allow it. But the thing with me is, I can be very wishy-washy, and I do need a firm hand sometimes, even if I have a tendency to be very micromanagey sort of thing, which I've become much better at, like, staving off in recent years, honestly. But yeah, someone needs to keep that pimp hand strong, and thank God I have a very good set of co-cops in that regard.
Yeah,
likewise, because I'm stopping in my own ways, which are usually on things that literally nobody else in the world gives a shit about, but I find a way to be petty about everything in my life.
Yes, you do.
See, like, I was bitching about Metropolis having enemies in the way on the overworld, but I just ran away from them fuckers, like, 3 in a row.
You know, this area is small, but it does look nice to its credit.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. I suppose it is a breath of fresh air, if I can get the fucking phrase out
right.
right.
Fresh air, that's what you're trying to say. Yes, now finally someone else has the Chepsy Palace.
Yeah, I've never been able to talk properly. This isn't something to finally be satisfied about, but...
Look, just let me have this, alright? I need this in my life. Go on, what were you saying?
I was saying that it's a breath of fresh air after being in the really, like, cramped in, depressive kind of Metropolis area. Now it's like we're in the great outdoors. Sonic has the wind blowing through his spines, if that even works, if they're not too heavy to resist that. But, you know, it's just something much prettier to look at after a very oppressive environment, which sometimes does make the world a difference with game environments, I find.
It does.
It really does. I mean, you look at pretty much most games, and it's the reason why I think so many games nowadays have started to go much more towards that greenery, vibrant look, because we spent so many years, and it was around the time that this game came out, actually. It was sort of the late 2000s, early 2010s, where everything was browner and grey in terms of modern games, and it was a really miserable time, to be honest. It was like, bring back some colour, goddamn you. And now we're actually getting a lot of that colour back into gaming, and it's really wonderful.
See, I don't necessarily agree there, because some of the games that do have a very dark look to them manage to do that well.
Yeah.
And I think that happened a lot at the start of the first HD generation, because that was the first time you could make games like that look good on a typical screen that a person's likely to have. Because if you think a lot of old PS1 era games, even like into the GameCube, PS2 era sort of stuff, if there was a dark section it would look very muddy, whereas having the high resolution would allow for more complex textures, and you could actually make detailed environments with like dark colours.
It's true.
After a while, we naturally had a lot of that. So now, like, developers and artists and whatnot are moving towards the more diverse colour palette, which, you know, there's more variety now. But yeah, we're getting on to old Grandad Echidna here, so he's kind of important, so let's see what he has to say.
Yes, Ix. He's fine as a villain. I'm not really sure what it is with the tradition of making white echidnas evil, because you had Dr. Zachary in the Fleetway comic, you had Fenitivus in the Archie comic, and now we have Ix in the Chronicles continuity, but we have to deal with the really angry, growling Inquisitors or whatever. Oh wait, no, Inquisitor is far too high for this. Violevet or whatever it was called?
I mean,
Yes, it's on the screen right now.
well, I mean, I completely blanked that because I was just looking at Imperator X's kind of Wikipedia page his Sonic Wikia page, to see if I could kind of get anything out of that. I'm just like, nope, it's nothing particularly helpful other than the fact that his full title is actually Peer Oth Ix, but that's never used anywhere in the game whatsoever.
Huh.
Did someone just pull that out their arse to make him sound more important?
Oh, God only knows. So what was the Nocturne enemy we were facing down called again?
It was the Valit thing. We saw it on screen, Greg.
Yeah, well, we've covered this, don't worry. So here's a couple of funny things that I can use to pad out the runtime. Number one. Shit, I actually forgot what number one was. Oh god, this is really bad.
Go on to number 2 and come back to it.
No, it's fine. I've just remembered number one. Keeping with the theme of like being all Roman and shit, with the Legionnaires and the ranks and so on. X is also how you would write out 9 in Roman numerals, and I don't know if that's got some deeper meaning to it, but it's there. Also, if he was in Kingdom Hearts, his somebody name would be I, which makes sense for such an egotistical character.
Okay, my thing that I was going to bring to the table, you mentioned about like the white coloration and that. I think that's just to show that like he's the elder.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
So like he's the one they all look up to and respect, and they follow his every word. And I don't know whether echidnas get grey hair like people do, or whether that's an artistic liberty. But either way, that's kind of his role in the story.
But there's two explanations that I can give to why that may not be the case. Number one is there have been old echidnas in like the Archie comics and other media that are just old. They have the wrinkles and shit, but they still retain their fur colour. And I guess the second one is there's like a slight albino, weird, not part of the pack vibe to characters that are like all white and so on. So it's different. It puts them at odds with like the normal guys and so on. But there's also the whole thing of white is pure. We'll subvert that. And so on and so forth, and you get a villain that is just all in white but is a douchebag and so on, which is not too far from real life, am I right?
Smooth.
Continue going with the political commentary. I want to see an entertaining comment section, Tom.
You're looking at the wrong channel if you're looking for a bevy of comments, but I'm telling you that now. I mean, I appreciate everyone who comments, don't get me wrong, but we're no brain scratch.
Yeah, no. Probably for the best, to be fair, because we probably all want to murder each other. Anyway, I was just having a look to see if there's anything I could find on Ix as a name, and really the only major thing is the whole 9 trend. That said, there are a few other uses of the word Ix. Or IX, because there's the United States Navy Hull classification for an unclassified miscellaneous vessel, which is Ix. There's also a Mayan queen and a Mayan goddess, Ixchel and Ixekna, which are a thing. Ix is also the 14th day of the Zolkin calendar, which is Maya as well. So actually, that's probably where potentially some of this comes from, because if you look at obviously the whole echidna stuff, a lot of their look and feel is very based on sort of ancient Mayan culture in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like if you need a way, and this is not giving enough credit to the writers, because I do like this, you know, I like the whole Roman angle they went for here as the subtext. Like, an easy way to make your characters more interesting is to just pick from mythology and, you know, write around that. And that's fine, I love that. It's all good. I love, like, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Mayan mythology, and so on. But yeah, like, once you start learning and you start seeing the tropes, it's kind of hard not to see when writers just pick it out as shorthand for interesting, you know?
Yeah, I think generally there always needs to be a reason for choosing those things. So, I mean, I'm going to be a complete shell, but in my book that I have written that I'm going to be releasing in 2019, like, oh my god.
Bless you.
Basically, all of my characters have names that relate to video games in some way. So you've got Hideki, Rosalina, Diana. Well, I mean, when you get to Diana, Arthur, and David, they're not quite video gamey. They're more kind of cultural.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a Princess Diana fighting game out there I wasn't aware of?
No. But because of obviously where their names come from in terms of culture, when it came to creating the ideas for the summons for them, I ended up drawing from sort of different cultures. So Hideki, even though his name's Japanese, he ends up drawing from Norse mythology because Hideki means like great tree. Obviously you've got Yggdrasil. There's a lot of stuff in my book which is to do with sort of Norse stuff, so it made sense for him to have that. Because Rosalina is the princess of the kingdom of Ryoshima, which obviously very Japanese. Her summons are very much based in Japanese mythology, so you have Amaterasu and Susanoo. Diana is Roman goddess of the moon-ish, I think. So I ended up going for Greek mythology for her summons. David was more Hebrew, Judaism, that sort of stuff. And then Arthur, because obviously King Arthur is sort of historical, mythological British.
Yes, we've all played Sonic and the Black Knight, Richard.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we get all our culture from, Sonic and the Black Knight.
So basically, that is an instance of using culture, but the reason that I use them is because sort of it's to create a multicultural feel to the world, and it's sort of having all those different threads pulled together into one strand and a monomythy type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully when people read it, they get that and they like that, and it doesn't come off as, oh, I'm just using it to make it look interesting, yay. Because that was an instance of having thought about it at least somewhat.
I'm writing my negative Amazon review right now, Rich, I'm sorry.
Some of those are so hilarious to read because, like...
Oh, yeah.
There is a certain level of entitlement, not inherently, of, like, expressing dissatisfaction with something that you knew going in may have flaws and whatnot. And it's like, what were you expecting, idiot, sometimes? On the more dense ones, not like just saying, oh, I need to return this, it didn't, blah 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 blah, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also you have the people who obviously read things, play things, watch things, without actually understanding anything about what they were actually going in to watch. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember when the film version of Les Miserables came out, there were a few people giving it like 1-star Amazon reviews going just like, they sing through the entire thing! I hated it! It's just like, well, it is like the longest running musical ever, so...
I'm gonna have to bring it back to FU again. I'm sorry, Flame. You can downvote me or subtweet me for this after, if you like. Let me get to my point. I see people saying, oh, I hate the songs. They're so useless. It's a fucking musical. That's exactly what it is. It's a recent trend, and I'm not just gonna stick to cartoons and whatnot on this, of people just not realizing that, like, music, songs specifically, is something humans have done for, like, I don't want to say eons, because maybe that's too long, but hundreds and hundreds of, if not thousands of years. Like, we tell music through songs, essentially. Well, stories, tales, and just, like, music for pleasure and whatnot. But, you know, before we wrote stuff down, we were just a very, like, oral sort of tribe and so on. Like, the speakers in Castlevania, essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, even when cultures did start writing things down, I mean, when it starts to become more prevalent is pretty much the sort of medieval period, so Old English into Middle English. So you're looking at around like the 1200s to kind of the 1500s-ish, that period,
Yeah.
where things start to get written down a lot more. But even during that period, oral storytelling and music is an incredibly popular thing, and used so much, and oh my god.
Okay, yeah, sure, blam, kabamzo, kabam-bam. They just got their shit fucked. That was actually kind of hype.
They got their shit fucked, but then we cut back to the actual gameplay where they're just standing there like nothing happened.
I guess so. Alright, dustlings are we? Dust in the wind, as it were. Let's do this shit.
Yeah, so this is the point where we get to combine the two teams again and pick our characters that we want to use. So I am going with the powerhouses here for obvious reasons.
Totally fair.
And those obvious reasons being that I like to do a lot of damage and hit shit.
Oh god, here we go. This is where, like I said, I tapped out in the Sonic-a-thon run because I just didn't have enough items, I wasn't prepared for this. Obviously I was playing on an actual 3DS, so quick time events, you fail them, it was just a spiral, honestly. It was a spiral where things just went wrong and wrong and wrong. But Flame, tell me how you handled this fight, how you should handle this fight.
Well, I think I did get this down on my first go as far as I recall.
Yeah.
I am just doing the same strategy I've been using through the whole game up to this point where I spam my heavy attacks and then use cream to restore my health.
There you go.
So yeah, like, this admittedly is easy because I have Ferox. I can imagine if you don't, then it's going to be a different story entirely.
Oh yeah.
I think that was one of my problems. You can't go back and buy items was another one of my problems. And if you'll notice, there was no gameplay break in between all of those fights.
Yeah, so like you did get healed, but still that is like one heal. If you haven't got items, then you're fucked when you get into the actual battle itself.
Well, was that healing at the start? Because I noticed you came into this fight and Cream had like 5 power points.
Actually, I could swear I got healed fresh. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or maybe that might have been on my practice run where I just didn't take damage the round before. I can't remember.
Maybe I was the one not paying attention. Roll the tape back. Oh, we don't have that function? Well, fuck it.
If we rolled the tape back, you're the one who'd have to desync it in post, so good fucking luck for that.
Nah, I'm good. Would you recommend, like, not taking out his guards, I guess? Because I seem to recall they just respawn after a while.
Possibly. I think I'm wailing on all of them here, at least from my recollection. We'll see in this round. This is the thing that happens when I haven't recovered the footage for a few weeks now. I just sort of think, what was my strategy? I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Do you think this is a suitable climax to this act of the game, Flame? I guess that's the best question I could ask you right now.
Oh, it is interesting having our first fight with this enemy who, the way they've set him up, he is clearly a big bad here. He is clearly the guy who we're going to be going after. So to have him introduced here at the tail end of it is a transitional phase, this chapter, and it is like we've had our point of no return and now we're in the midpoint. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty good way of like introducing us to the next step of the game.
Yeah.
I used a lot of words for a very simple point, but hey.
Hey, you're learning after me.
I was just about to say that. There you go.
I'm getting slightly better at them QTEs.
It
it only took me halfway through the fucking game, but I've done it.
Man, you made that look fucking easy. I'm glad you're the one recording this, because I probably would have done just as bad.
Yeah, well, you know, I was doing my practice run before my recording run, so I still had it in recent memory.
Yeah, and I was doing it live, but I don't know, that's just something that stuck with me, so I've been trying to get a redemption run of this going for us in general, because I just couldn't do it on my own, obviously, so
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, that was also one stream 4 years ago. I don't think anyone cares anymore, you know.
Oh shit, why didn't you do that in the first place?
Because we needed our fight first.
This is so ridiculous, but I guess Shade's on our side now, so hooray, new party member.
Yeah, Shade got the same treatment as Ruth did in SA2, but I don't think she's going to be quite as bitchy about Knuckles holding her hand this time.
True.
No. But also, to be fair, she's probably quite grateful for having her life saved because she can't fly, unlike Rouge, who definitely can, the silly cow.
Yeah, ooh, look how small that fucking Master Emerald is.
It's the same size it is as when Knuckles pulls it out of his arse in the last story of SA2, isn't it?
No, that's bigger in SA2 for sure.
Was it? Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I don't really have Ix's proportions in mind, so I don't know.
Well, he took the one thing keeping the island in the air, so this is when the crash happens. Enjoy, guys, and we'll see you next time. Battle for Angel Island is over, and we just fucking lost.